Am I a good games producer? I like to think I am, but how can I actually tell? How do I know when I should learn and improve versus just stop punishing myself? Today's question doesn't come from a follower, but it comes from me. I stress all the time about this question, way more than I should. So I set about trying to think about it from a more objective standpoint. Hi, I'm Jen Sandercock, and this is Jen's Generally Good Game Production Advice. I'm a games producer who loves helping teams ship their games on time, on budget, with a happy team. But am I any good at all of this? Should you even be listening to me? I might be about to shoot myself in the foot in terms of gaining an audience, but I struggle with self-doubt and a lack of confidence at times. I believe that to help myself and to help others, I should be open and honest. Perhaps you're also struggling with self-doubt, and hearing me will help you get through something. Wouldn't that be awesome? So I also personally do not believe people who talk about the one right way to do game production or act overconfidently all of the time. Game production is nuanced and you're not going to be able to get it right all the time. So being able to admit your mistakes and learn from them is essential. On the other hand, you do need to have the self-confidence so that you can get your thoughts across and help your team the most. If you're still with me, great. Let's get into this. Am I a good games producer? Well, what does a games producer even do? Production is really broad, and you cannot be good at all of the bits. Once I went to a conference talk by another producer, and I almost quit the entire industry afterwards. Well, why? Because that person had a very different production style and a different set of production tools to me. Thankfully, a friend reminded me of what I really already knew deep down, which is that there's space for different types of producers within games. And in fact, different teams, different games, they do need different types of producers. At its heart, I believe that production is a service role. Ultimately, you are serving the project. That is, you're trying to get the game finished. To make that happen, you serve the team members. You support the team members so they can do their work and then they can make the game and ship it on time. So how can I tell if I'm any good at it? Well, if I was an artist, I could create a piece of art and then everybody would say, yep, good enough to go in the game, or no. As a producer, well, if the game ships on time, on budget, with a happy team, great. Definitely, I'm a good producer for sure. But what about the day-to-day? How do I define what a happy team is? And am I even going the right direction right now? When should I give myself a break and stop listening to all these negative thoughts that I'm having? And when should I actually recognize that I am wrong and that I need to improve and that I should stop and listen to what people are saying kind of between the lines or maybe even openly to my face? Let's go deeper. So, I've come up with 3 different types of tests you can do to maybe check to see if you're a good game producer. They're somewhat objective measurements, things you can ask your team about and things you can ask other producers about. Oh, hi, Future Jen here. I just wanted to jump in with a couple of caveats to what you're about to hear. These measurements don't necessarily mean that you are or are not a good or bad producer. Ultimately, you're a good producer if you're meeting the needs of the team and the project's needs. So, definitely a subjective measurement. The measurements I've chosen are things that I think good producers do. So if you're doing well on all of the fronts, then you're probably not half bad as a producer. I came up with so many possible measurements that I decided not to include them in this recorded version. So if you'd like more measurements, go to my blog post at jensan.com/advice. And a final caveat is that since this was a question from me, I haven't actually tried out a lot of these techniques. I'm going to be doing that this year. If you have other suggestions for me, please let me know. Okay, time for me to go. Let's get to those measurements. So, I've tried to concentrate on the objective measurements part because those are the things that are easiest to test without letting anyone else know that you're doubting yourself, which is always a good thing. So, you're a good producer if you can accurately predict sprint completion rates. So you test this by guessing what percentage of tasks will be done by the end of a sprint. See how close you can get. As a next step, can you figure out which specific tasks are going to be unfinished? Being able to predict sprint completion rates means that you're going to be able to more accurately predict what will fit into a milestone, and you'll be able to make sure the team is going at a good pace and not overstretching constantly. You're a good producer if there are minimal new tasks within a sprint. So measure how many tasks are created every sprint after sprint planning. The less you have, the more it means your team is on top of predicting what's happening, and the less chaotic your team is. You're a good producer if your roadmap is accurate. So take snapshots of your roadmap every quarter, maybe every month even, and then check to see how much it has changed and whether you achieved the intended goals. You're doing a ridiculously awesome job if your roadmap doesn't change much, and that's really hard to achieve. So you do not need perfection here, but you can learn from what you did wrong and try to get closer and have less wild fluctuations. You're a good producer if you leave space for other voices in meetings. You should spend less than 50% of meetings talking. That is, you're giving space to the rest of the team for their discussions and their voices. If the team is speaking up, then they're engaged in the meeting and they're actually actively, it's a good thing that they're in that meeting rather than just being bored. You're a good producer if you followed up with the team when you said you would. So you can check this by searching messages where you typed, "I'll follow up," or maybe just look for follow up. And then you can see, did I actually follow up with that person? If you said you're going to follow up on a call, it can be harder to search for this to see if you did do the follow up. So you could ask your team individually, "Hey, did I follow up with you on everything that you asked about recently?" This is a great segue into things that you can ask your team about. So you can tell you're a good producer if you're on top of everything going on. How do you test this? Well, ask team members, what's happening with you? See if you already know about it. Can they shock you? As a bonus, flip it. See how much the rest of the team is on top of things. Can you shock them? You're a good producer if you know what the priorities are. So what are the most important things that the team is working on right now? List them out yourself and then check with the project lead to see if your order matches to what they think is most important. Ask other team members to do the same and see what they list. You're a good producer if everyone knows milestone expectations. So ask people on the team what they think is expected for the next milestone and see if they can match what you as a producer think it should be. How done should different aspects be? Which features and content need to be in? If their expectations don't match to what you're aiming for, then you know you haven't communicated the expectations clearly enough and you've got some work to do. Sometimes it's good to talk to other producers to check in and compare yourself. This could be a mentor outside of your company or someone within your company if you have multiple producers. So, ask another producer if they think your solution is any good. Check your proposed solution to a problem. Go over the details with them. Do they think it's a good approach? Are you missing something obvious? Ask the other producer, is your task hard? Is what you're doing actually something that everybody struggles with? Ask them what's worked for them and then go easy on yourself. So, am I a good producer? Well, most of the time I think so. In fact, I made myself this little motivational embroidery to help me stay positive and to banish self-doubt when it's not helping me out. But I am a human and I have bad moments too. And to be honest, sometimes it's not just about moments, it's weeks, months, something. And some tasks I just struggle with every single time I try to tackle them. What can you learn from when you're not good? As in, how can I get better? Well, instead of just wallowing how terrible you think you are, let's try and figure out what's going on. So, ask, how frequent are these bad moments? Are they once a day, a week, every 6 months? You cannot be perfect all the time. But if it's happening on the regular, then something is going wrong. So next, ask, what is causing your bad moments? Is it a lack of training? Are you just not good at the specific tasks you've been assigned to? Ask for specific training or get help from a mentor. Are you expecting hard tasks to be easy? Maybe it's something nobody can do perfectly, so be kind to yourself and aim for just good enough rather than perfection. Do you dislike this specific task that you're trying to do? Maybe you can assign it to someone else, or maybe you can just try to get it done quickly, like rip it off like a band-aid and then move on to something else. Figure out how to motivate yourself to just get it done and then move on. Are you overworked and just tired? Ask for support. Maybe check in on priorities on tasks. Perhaps what you're doing has really low priority and you don't even need to do it right now. Maybe you can get somebody else to help support you. Maybe you can hire an assistant producer. Is there something going on outside of work? Is that affecting your mental and physical well-being while you're at work? Tell someone at work what's going on. You don't need to give them the details, and then see if you can get some additional support or reduced hours for some specific amount of time. Are your bad moments because there's a bad person or people or some sort of company culture? These sorts of problems can be really hard to fix, but they are not impossible. You do need to figure out how it can be fixable. Maybe that's direct conversations with people, HR or management support, or something else entirely. And if it isn't fixable, can you avoid the person or people? Can you adapt yourself? Can you just live with it and accept that this is something that will also pass? Whatever is going on, be kind to yourself. Don't tell yourself that you're stupid or whatever else is going through your mind. Produce yourself. That is, pretend you're one of your own team members who is struggling. Remember, you wouldn't use the language that you're using on yourself with another team member. See if you can find and fix the root cause rather than just making yourself feel worse. And then you'll be able to improve and become a better producer. If you find yourself truly stuck, ask someone on the team to be your producer and help you figure out how to get through it. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining me. Instead of trying to be great or good all of the time, maybe I just need to take my own advice and just be generally good. If you think I'm not half bad as a producer, maybe even good, and want some advice about game development and production, please ask me. If you want generally good advice, just go to jensan.com/askjen. And if you want to hire me, please do find out more at jensan.com. Thank you for joining me. Bye.